everyone, this is Casey here, Brick by Brick Wealth. We are here at Michael Zuber's 50K celebration party in Las Vegas. So excited. Today we are interviewing Frank Contreras, and he is a member of the One Rental at a Time community. And I wanted to bring him on today so you guys can hear a little bit about his journey and how he started again a second time around. And Frank, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself? Where do you live, what you do for work, and what kind of got you started with real estate investing in the beginning?
Right now, we're living in California on the Central Coast, and I'm a general contractor, residential remodeling. Been doing that for 30 plus years, and we had tried to start investing in real estate back about 2007, and did that with no education. Ended up having a pretty rough time. We were able to hold on to those properties for about a year, and ended up losing those and going through bankruptcy at the time back in 2010. It took us a while to get back into position to be able to try real estate investing for a second time. And in 2019, started educating myself and trying to learn the right way to do it.
About a full 10 years.
It was, yeah, quite
Full
a run.
10 years.
Right.
Most people would give up, wouldn't you say?
I think, yeah, I think it's real easy to give up, especially after something like that. My wife was really supportive and on board the first time around, and I feel really horrible that it ended up going sour, but she's still with me and supportive and willing to try it again. The main reason that I'm so anxious to get it right the second time is because I've never planned for my retirement, for one, and we're hoping that real estate maybe can't help me retire early now, but to be able to retire at all is my goal, and to be able to take care of my family if something happened to me and I couldn't work or something worse. So that's where we're at right now.
So about 5 years ago, 10 years after the bankruptcy and losing your properties, took you 10 years to recuperate, and you said, we're going to do this again. Was your wife, Cynthia, was she on board? What were her thoughts, or who brought up, hey, let's do this again. Let's take the risk.
Yeah, that would be me. When I started re-educating myself, at first I was looking into like retirement accounts and things like that because I didn't really know any better. Real estate was still in the back of my mind. And through that process, I realized that funding a retirement account was not going to get me there fast enough. You know, I call myself old. I'm 60 right now. At the time, I was 57. And I don't have a choice. I have to make it work. And I guess that's I always say I got started out of fear and desperation, and that was it. And just wanting to take care of them is my motivation, and I don't lose sight of that. And it really helps me keep pushing forward every day.
What would you say were some of the things that you did this time that you didn't do last time that you were hoping to get right so you didn't kind of make those same mistakes, even though they weren't really mistakes, the market just completely tanked.
Right.
But what were you doing this time to make sure, hey, even if, stuff hits the fan, we're still going to be okay? What types of things were you doing to prepare for the second go around?
Yeah, I think just the education process when I got started again, I found bigger pockets. You know, back when I started the first time, YouTube wasn't a thing. There was not all this access via Zoom and all that kind of stuff. And again, on Bigger Pockets, I ran across Michael and eventually found you, and thankfully getting a call from you. I was at work. I remember exactly the day I got a call from you. You explained your program to me and asked me if I was on board. And I thought for a second, at the time I wasn't sure about paying for mentorship, but it was really one of the best choices. And then with your help learning the right way to do it. You have so much information in your course that was helpful. And then going forward, finding some other people kind of the same idea as Mike. It's really, his just get to four is easy for us to handle. And then I guess finding out the real way that a property should run. The first time the rent didn't even cover the mortgage, and it was not a thing for me. It's like, what about property management? What about vacancies and maintenance and all that stuff? So I was really upside down from the start. Now, understanding how to analyze properties is the biggest thing. And I'm even showing people how to start analyzing properties. And it's really cool to hear them say, I'm going to take the leap, but I wouldn't have unless they talk to me. And that's kind of strange for me to hear. But like you said, everything wasn't a mistake, but things just happen. And just helping people understand that, to have reserves will save your tail. If you don't have them, it'll be really easy to not continue, from one bad experience or something like that. So that re-education with people like you and Michael, and we work with Dion and all his crew, Matt and Millennial Mike. So and everybody's so giving. I can't, to talk to you, get a call right back from you. It's just unreal for me. It happens with Dion and the Lumberjack too. We're just blessed to have found everybody.
It's a great network. It really is. Michael's whole team, all his millionaires, his people, it's really something I've never experienced before. So I'm blessed to be here as well. Let's talk about your portfolio. So you had the freaking dang problems, right? Market crash, 10 years of recuperation. You're like, let's go, Cynthia. You tell your wife, we're going to do this again. And you're going to get some mentorship, learn the ropes the right way to make sure you don't, make those financial mistakes, because you're nearing retirement age. And it's like, we've got to make smart choices, and there's no time for risk, to lose our money. So you buy properties in the past 3 to 4 years?
Yes,
3 to 4 years?
2020 to 2023 so far.
Yes. Oh my gosh. So tell me about your portfolio and maybe where you own your properties and all the goodies everybody wants to hear.
Yeah. Like we discussed before, we thought we would start with a turnkey model because we were going to start out of state, because California is a little bit too pricey for us to get started. And in that journey, it led us to Missouri for the first purchase, and that was with a turnkey provider. That's a triplex. And then we've purchased 2 other turnkeys, and one of them's in Indiana, the other's in Illinois. We like that model, but even though they're so-called turnkeys, we still had to be careful because some of the providers weren't doing very good rehabs. And once we got we had a couple under contract. Once we got through the inspection process, we realized that things were just pretty on the outside, but weren't what they said they were. So we passed on several, and then finally found a couple that really worked, and we got through our inspections and stuff like that, and everything was fine. Since then, so we picked up a duplex in Milwaukee, and that one has been a nice property, but the issue with that one has been property management. So we're working through that right now. And then in 2023, during the summer, we picked up 3 single families. So right now we're up to 5 properties with 8 doors, and now we're kind of trying to stabilize things. We went pretty fast. I wouldn't say too fast, but you get caught up and you get excited and you just want to keep buying and buying, and that's not really the right thing to do. You need to let things settle down, make sure they're going to cash flow the way you thought they would, and then buy after that.
If you were to see the future you back then, market crash, would you have ever believed that you would be where you are now today after what had happened?
No, especially not getting as far as we have in just 3 years. And doing it, I guess, with the education and being able to understand how things are supposed to work and having a network of other investors to bounce ideas off of. All of our mentors, you included, especially if we have a problem or a question, somebody knows someone who's gone through it and how they were able to move past it. So I think back then, like I said, without YouTube and without all of that information out there, I couldn't see how it would be possible to learn how to do it. You know, you always just think people with a lot of money can do it because they have the money to get started and they know all the rules, even the language, the terminology and investing, and we've learned so much. And yeah, I wouldn't have thought that I could explain it to someone else, you know, let alone buy a property for ourselves and run it.
So there's a lot of people your age. There's a lot of people who lost their properties back then. There's a lot of people that also haven't saved enough for their retirement and they may be nearing their 50s, 60s. What advice would you have for them if they're low on retirement funds, but they're thinking about investing and they're thinking, hey, it's too late for me, I just give up? What words of encouragement or advice would you have for your generation if they haven't saved for retirement and they're just starting?
I would say to get around people who are doing it, because I was wondering if I was too old to start too. We, you know, online and everywhere you see all these young folks trying to do the financial independence, retire early stuff. And depending on where you are in your life, for us, again, being the old guy, I realized that we needed to invest for cash flow, and that appreciation was not too critical for us, because as long as the rents, you know, don't fall out from under us, the property value doesn't really matter as long as the rents stay level and you're getting some cash flow from each property. The way I look at it is, if you have, say, $100,000 in the bank and you're getting right now, luckily for maybe 5% interest, that's $5,000 a year. But if you put that down on a couple of properties and you're cash flowing, you know, $400, $500, $600 per property, that's a lot better return per month than leaving it in the bank. And you haven't really lost the money, it's in the property. And that doesn't even count all the other benefits of owning rentals, you know, like the depreciation, the principal pay down by the tenants and things like that. So I would say, and for us, we started in some of the Midwest markets because the price points are lower, but the price to rent ratio makes sense. You know, I think the 1% rule is kind of outdated, but I still use it, you know, just to at least see if it's a property that I want to dig into further. So the other thing I consider is that if I buy a property for $60,000 in St. Louis, which I have, and everything blew up, $60,000 isn't going to kill us, right? And even at our age, we could still recover from that. But, you know, if you think of a $60,000 property, find a lender back there that has lower minimums on loan amounts. You're only putting like $12,000 into the deal, so that's even better. You know, losing 12,000 is better than losing 60. But so that encourages me too. That, you know, and we've done it 3 times at that price point. Some our other properties, one is about $170,000 purchase. The other one was $228,000. So, you know, we have a little bit of a range there.
So through all this experience, especially buying multiple properties with all these doors and all these different states, having to build multiple teams, you have learned a lot. You've learned a lot. And you're starting your YouTube channel. So where can people find you if they want to learn more about you and kind of follow your journey?
Yeah, thank you. We decided to start the YouTube channel, and really it's only been a couple of weeks. You know, we have a few videos out, but it's Old Guy REI. And we started it for one, to document our journey since we're so fresh into it again. And then the other main reason is we're talking about all the lessons that we're learning, mistakes, and they're not all mistakes, like you said. Things just happen. You know, the Milwaukee property that we bought after we closed, is like everything broke. You know, furnaces, air conditioners, plumbing in the walls, and things like that. So thankfully we had the reserves to cover it, or that could have ended it right there. But that's what we're talking about, and you know, we're hoping people will send in questions. I think, like I said before, I couldn't imagine myself, and I wondered if I had enough experience to help anybody. But after talking to the investors in our groups, just getting started is where people need the most help. And so we thought starting with our journey and showing everybody how we're working through the issues that come up could be helpful. So we're hoping that that works.
Well, your channel is going to be awesome. I can't believe you got Old Guy REI as a handle. Like, how is that not taken? Am I right?
I was surprised it wasn't.
I'm like, what? Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, Frank. Thanks for coming and doing this with me. You guys, go follow Frank at Old Guy REI. Make sure if you're not following Michael Zuber at One Rental at a Time, do that too. Like, comment, share, give the thumbs up. And you know, you can give me a follow too, Brick by Brick Wealth. I'd appreciate it. Thanks so much.